certainly accept that. Trust me, I don't have. We all have egos with what we do, but I have an ego as a performer to make my performance the best, not what segment of the show I'm in. You know what I mean? I don't care if I'm in seg 3, seg 11, finishing the show out, or if I'm the top guy or if I'm the bottom guy. I'm always going to perform.
You care what the best of my ability. You alluded to the internet. I mean, there's guys that don't like you. Do you think they don't like you because that's being part of the role that you've carved out for yourself, or because maybe you've amassed too much power?
I think they don't like me because of a story.
Because you're a dirty dog.
They don't work with me. They're not.
That's right. We don't need to work with you. We know you're dirty. You're dirty.
What are they wrong about you?
That I sabotage people and that I use my power in the WWE to put myself in a position.
Yeah, you did. You dirty. You did. You dirty dog.
You know,
yeah. Take your golden shovel and stick them up your ass. Oh, couldn't stand you in what year was that? 03. Woo! Woo! Oh, he was a dirty something. And married to the boss's daughter. And all this kind of stuff. It looks too much of a coincidence. It do. It was he was a piece of work. As the businessman now he's something serious. But back then he was a real piece of work.
They want somebody else to be in that position. I would love it.
But the truth is,
less stress on me.
But the history of your industry has always been about climbing the ladder. And,
sure.
and some of the greatest wrestlers, you can't show me a great wrestler who hasn't climbed over someone along the way. So they may accuse you of something that every great wrestler, every guy who's made it to the top has been guilty of, right?
I think to make it to the top, but I look back at Ric Flair and I say, you know,
yeah, you and Flair,
one of the most successful guys ever in the history of the business.
Your idol, right?
One of my idols, yeah. Well, probably the biggest I ever had in the business. But when I look at his career, and especially knowing him now, Rick did a lot of things that he should have said no to, that weren't in the best interest of his character, that weren't in the best interest.
Well, we ain't talking about Flair. We're talking about you,
business-wise, and probably weren't in the best
you
interest
or something
of the business.
else.
And he had the ability at that point in time, because of his position, to say no, and never did. And you know, because he felt like at the time he was convinced that the other thing was the right thing for business. And he always ended up filtering back up to the top because if he had the ability and the talent to, the cream rose to the top, right? But I think it's the same thing. He had the ability to separate himself out and look back and say, listen, guys, I'm not that guy anymore. You know what I mean? I was at one point in time, but I'm not anymore. Put somebody else in that role. That's great. I'll still be a component in the show and I'll still be a major factor, but I'm not the guy.
How do people look at you, given the fact that you married the boss's daughter? And
yeah, let's get into it. Let's get to it. I'm glad he's asking all that kind of stuff.
Does that bother you?
It did at first. It would concern me. You know,
it should.
When we first got together, when Steph and I first got together, you know, it was something that we talked to Vince about. You know, you can't help what we fall in love with. And it was something that we talked with Vince about. At first, Vince said, "Okay,"
did China
and
dirty.
said, "This is not good," and but we couldn't help it. You know, and then he said,
"Yeah, you could
go ahead," and it was great. And I talked to a lot of guys about it. One of the guys I talked to the most about it was the Undertaker, because I respect him and he has a very good beat on things of the pulse of the locker room. And you know, he was one of the guys that said, "Hey, screw everybody else. You got to do what's right in your heart and do what's right for you." You know.
Yeah, because Taker was cutting you a break.
Would it be possible to be married to someone outside of the business, or because of the nature? Because you told me you hardly ever see her, right? And so much of who you are is what you are as a wrestler. Does it make sense to stay within that family?
I guess it depends on your personality. You know, some guys don't
it depends
like
if you're a dirty dog.
Anything to do with the business. And I think they almost, in an essence, have two personalities. They got the guy that's on the road and the guy that's home with the kids and the wife. Some guys, that become the problem when they retire from the business and the wife finds out what they're really like. It's a different world. But, you know, it depends on the business. Some guys like to have...
I don't know about trying to clean it up. But yeah, he was a dirty... Whew, woo! A dirty piece of work, boy. Because back then, what was that? 02, 03, 04. Ooh, boy. And the golden shovel. Every time you turn around, he has the belt. Remember being handed a damn belt. That was sickening. Just like sound like Mr. Cole now. He was raising hell about Flair that time. Oh boy, this guy he was back then. I know he's good, like I said, he's good, the businessman now. But back then, he was the original piece of work. or what you say, the original pain in the ass. Yeah, he was something else.